All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday. Welcome to the show. We got a great show for you. I've got my co-host Rob Spencer is here alongside Eric Haynes, and we're going to talk about what happened over the weekend in Minneapolis. A church service was disrupted. We have kids who were afraid. We have women who were afraid. Violent leftist revolutionaries alongside Don Lemon. Was Don Lemon leading the revolutionaries? That's now a topic for debate. Now he's gone on and admitted that one of the reasons he invaded the church was because the church is full of white supremacists. We're going to talk about that, much, much more. Also, we've got leftists in Minneapolis now brandishing semi-automatic weapons on the corners of street blocks, and they don't really look like they know how to use them. All kinds of reports coming out about an increase in violence. You had Jake Lang, who was almost killed, and a mob of angry leftists carried him off, and it's just getting out of control. And so we'll reference you to our previous shows where we talked about the Insurrection Act and why President Trump should use it. We're going to talk about that and much, much more. The show starts now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, folks, really appreciate you being with us as always. We got Rob Spencer in the house. Rob, how are you?
Honored to be here as always. Really, really glad that we've got a full house. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have some interesting takes on all of the happenings that are going. You need me closer to the mic?
No, you're good to go.
You just adjusted on the fly.
Eric has been in your seat for too long, and so his levels are different than yours.
Does he get a little fired up? Or?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he gets a little fired up there. But yeah, you know, obviously an interesting weekend when we see all this stuff happening, and then Don Lemon, literally, who has fallen into insignificance, has decided that he wants to put on the armor of the biggest douche to ever walk the face of the planet. He wants to put that armor on and storm into a church. So I'm interested to talk about it.
Eric, good to have you, sir.
Great to be part of the conversation. I feel like Ricky Bobby in that part where he's like, car ran good. After Rob set up there with the levels, I'll try not to be too wild and crazy today.
It's okay.
It's
We're all
created
created
different.
I'm not sure
different.
what to do with my hands.
We're all created different. We all have different levels.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
My tenor level.
We're going to get into it. This was the scene the other day, Sunday, the Lord's Day. It's interesting. When we signed off on Thursday, Eric, you were here, and we told everybody, because we don't normally do a Friday show, and we said, hey, if you don't go to church, go find a church and find one that preaches the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Imagine being in that one.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is not what you meant when you said find a church, right?
That
No.
is not what we meant.
I was not giving instructions to the radical left. No, I was not. But here it is. Let's go ahead and throw this up. This was the angry mob storming the church.
Hold on just a second. If you're seeing this video for the first time, which I can't imagine that you are, but if you are seeing this for the first time, think about a parent there with their children.
Yeah.
And what they felt as soon as this happened. But go ahead.
Renee good! Renee good! Renee good!
Also, the irony is not lost on me that they're going into a Christian church. And by the way, this is a Baptist church, a city's church. The kind of in the Venn diagram of the theological circles that I travel in. Like I would agree with these. These are in a lot of ways aligned with your theology, my theology. In a lot of ways. And so it's not just some. It's a Christian church, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, it's a Bible-believing Christian church.
Yeah, you may disagree with the theology there, but they are definitely believers in Christ.
And the irony that they're going in, disrupting a worship service to shout not only a radical leftist, but a lesbian, and they're shouting her name in a church, in a service where those people are there to worship Jesus, is the irony there is not lost on me.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
We're still doing this?
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! This is
Yeah, they wanted a reaction.
Yeah. Now, the church has, come under, well, here's the deal. I mean, they were shell-shocked. There's no question about it, right? Like, they are literally not expecting this, obviously, and
well, you don't know what they're going to do as soon as they're in there.
you certainly don't. And so this has kind of reignited a conversation that churches definitely should have some sort of security plan in place and that sort of thing. But I will say this, because you guys have talked offline with me about it. If this had happened in, I'll just say a southern church, I think it would have come to blows in all probability, or physical altercation. These Minneapolis parishioners, though, I'm just telling you, had anything like that happen, Tim Waltz or Mayor Fry would have put the Christians in jail. There's no question in my mind about it.
Yeah.
Had they actually done anything to remove the trespassers, because that's what this is. They were trespassing. They weren't just disrupting a worship service. Secondarily to that, they're trespassing. So.
Yeah, I agree. And Eric and I used to be members of the same church, and I remember specifically one Sunday, a guy that, I mean, I'm assuming that he was on some kind of drugs or whatever.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he walked up on stage during the middle of the preacher's message, and started asking him theology questions, and the preacher, I don't want to mention his name here, but he was he handled it extremely well, right? And this guy was escorted off there by a couple of people. But what did we see the next Sunday? we saw armed people. That was the first time I remember when we attended that church that we started to see armed police officers, off-duty police officers who are hired. Maybe when they're not working, they're now working at that church on a Sunday. And when did we get to that? When does that the norm? And what are you going to see next Sunday in this church? Mm-hmm. You're going to see people armed. You're going to see armed security keeping these people out. And this, thank God, didn't turn a whole lot worse. These people were just trying to go in there and make a scene, all of that stuff. But my goodness, how quickly this could have turned if the people there would have reacted differently.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and you also do have to think about the kids and everything else. If it does turn into some brouhaha, you've got innocent kids who could probably get trampled and that sort of thing. So
well, there's another video too, and there's another video too where this guy was like, "And all of you white Christians," and
I've got that.
He keeps talking about the whiteness of it, and I'm like, dude, have you looked in the mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The radical left in Minneapolis has reached a new low as it relates to that. My goodness. I mean, it's one thing to protest and even doing all the radical, insane things that they're doing, but man, to walk into a church full of people that are there to worship and just start yelling and screaming like that.
Look, we saw everything that started in 2020 and the unrest that probably cost Donald Trump the presidency. Like, you can say all this about the pandemic and all of that stuff, but when you want to talk about the unrest that happened in the United States, right there in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guy that you're talking about there. Oh, that's a great point about Minnesota being kind of the linchpin.
Yeah, 2020 Minnesota.
It is interesting. Yeah, Floyd, and then last year you had the Catholic school that was shot up by the trans terrorists. Yeah, and children died there. Minnesota is kind of like this. I don't understand exactly why it's kind of the battleground right now, but it's
it's crazy. It's a 60-40 state.
But you can understand it because of people like Tim Walz and the mayor, Jacob Frey, whatever.
When you have the leaders that enable it.
When you have that kind of feckless leadership and a churning up and an encouragement of that kind of behavior, it's just gonna be a pushing the envelope farther and further and further. That's what these people sit around and do. Like, hey, what can we do next? And where can we get more clicks, and where can we instigate more of a problem? And then have it all on video to where we can use it as
let us not forget the Minneapolis mayor crying at the casket of George Floyd.
Yeah.
A multiple convicted felon who held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach so that he could steal from her. And this is your savior. This is your hero. He had 3 funerals, had a golden casket, and Jacob Fry, with his beta male bull, kneeled at the casket and was crying. And you're just like, do you dare go to church on Sunday and profess that you are a Christian? Because if you were, you sure as hell wouldn't be kneeling at anything other than the feet of Jesus.
Here's that guy you're talking about. He's actually a paid guy. His name is William Kelly. He's a paid professional agitator, according to Joe Rigney, who's harassed the saints of Christkirk, D.C. So this guy was actually in Washington, D.C. recently doing something similar, but here he is over the weekend disrupting the Lord's Day.
Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with enemies. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your...
Yeah, so that was the interesting thing here. These leftists who are not Christians, they love to claim that they know everything about Christians and know how to point out their hypocrisies and everything else.
Here's something really quickly before you move on. Demons believe in God too.
Yeah.
I
got a demonic impression as well.
Yeah, you talk about the devil being at the heart of all of this. I mean, he's just over on the corner, over on the sidelines, just laughing it up right now.
They see it. These demons are at work in this, and it's all shrouded in the veil of righteousness, because and they love to treat the foreigner as if they were a native. I can't remember the exact verse of how it's gone. Depends on the translation. But essentially what they say is, well, you were a foreigner in this land and all of this stuff.
That doesn't mean you get to take over the land.
Where does it say? Where does it say you get to not obey the laws of the land and do whatever you want to do? Just come across the border and all of this. And you can even say that. Just say, hey, you're not living the Christian life. But what right does it give you? Your worldview, your view of how things should be, have you stopped to take any sort of rational thought about it and say, maybe I'm wrong? It's impossible for these individuals to do that because they believe that they have the righteousness of you're mistreating these people. He was talking about putting people in concentration camps. Well, who the hell is putting them in concentration camps? Nobody. Not here in the United States. And the last people to do that were the Democrats.
Yeah. Everybody's a Nazi to them. So
yeah, and they're also, they're essentially saying, hey, you guys are being unchristian for not siding with illegal Somali immigrants. Like you're being unchristian for not siding with lawlessness, and that's what's lost here. And there was also reports that one of the pastors at this church moonlights as an ICE agent of some kind. Also, 24 Minneapolis police officers have resigned, and I think 18 of those have joined ICE. By the way, so that's actually a really positive sign. But this whole thing is about, like we've talked about. It was an extreme policy to let our border be flooded, our country be flooded with invaders, and now the solution, it feels extreme. It's not extreme; it's just law and order. But it takes a lot of work to restore law and order because we've had so much lawlessness.
Yeah, there's going to be an overcorrection, and if it's an overcorrection, that's subjective, but I think it's just a correction. All
right, so here I'm going to get to all of these clips before we've got this Don Lemon, Don Lemon, who is under a lot of heat right now, interviewing the pastor of this in the aftermath of this disruption or
this makes me angry
storming
just
of the church.
Church,
our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. Yeah. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left. Yeah.
So, what do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm a gay man. But I'm a Christian.
yeah, he's not a Christian, obviously. But so now that I've rewatched this clip, and in light of what Don Lemon has also said, he's clearly trolling this man. He's trying to troll him when he talks
he's
about
saying he's like here to document it. No,
yeah,
you're not.
but
You're
like,
part of
the
it.
thing is this, but the First Amendment, like at first I'm like, is he really that dumb to think that the First Amendment gives the press or this mob the right to assemble and protest in a private building? And he's really not that dumb. He's literally just he's masquerading, trying to ask legitimate questions that are not legitimate questions for content. I mean, let's be honest, that's what he's doing. He's doing that for content.
Sure.
And his quest for content and clicks he may wind up in a federal prison because of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'll say this. Guys like Don Lemon, when they leave the mainstream media outlets that they're with, big houses like CNN and whatever, when they leave, this is what they all end up doing. They all end up starting their own channels and podcasts and whatever, and they need advertising and clicks and run-throughs. They need to be able to do stuff like that, or they have to do stuff like this, insane stuff like this, to instigate and to get more clicks on their media outlets, so that they can get advertising. So he's just drumming up money. That's all it is.
I've not once watched anything that Don Lemon has done, with the exception of two things, since he was fired from CNN. Number one is when he tried to interview Elon Musk, got completely murdered right there in the middle of that interview.
Yep.
And then number two, this one. You see this, and you see stuff like Jim Acosta. Again, not watched anything of his except for when he interviewed an AI version of a Parkland school shooting deceased person, and you're just like, what is happening? You are not the media.
Remind the audience what you're talking about. They created an AI version of a victim of a shooting and did an interview with
to push gun control.
Right.
And so essentially what it was trying to do is, hey, they took a picture, several photos of this dude that was unfortunately murdered in the Parkland, Florida school shooting, and he, they had an interview. Jim Acosta, had an interview on his show with the AI version of this, and he's like asking it questions, this AI thing, and answer in this. So this AI version is answering the questions as if he is still alive. And I'm like, I've never seen anything more distasteful in my entire life. I've never seen anything more disrespectful to someone who has been deceased. And I get it that maybe that's some sort of healing for his parents to talk about gun control. But it wasn't a gun that killed their son. It was a human with a weapon. And that human can have any weapon. Maybe we can do more damage. We can talk about gun control on an entire thing. But when you have all of these people who were formerly huge, right? Jim Acosta, he rose to fame with his spars with Trump during his first thing, right? So we saw all of that. Well, then he gets pushed to this midnight show and decides to resign on CNN, and he goes out here and does this crap. This, unfortunately, is what's left of Don Lemon's reputation.
Yep. This was him outside of the church after he left.
Watch this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid. And, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But again, careful. It's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please. Really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about. And so
at the beginning of that, I don't know if you heard this.
Making dads with kids is uncomfortable.
Oh, just
that's what protesting is about.
That's what protesting is
about. Busting into churches and embarrassing parents in front of their children.
And he used the word trauma here.
Yeah.
Watch this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid. And, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for...
I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic, but it's Christians.
Yeah.
They would never, ever say anything like that about any other group of people or a minority. Oh, well, it's traumatic. No, these are white Christians, and so their trauma is needed. It's necessary. It's even a good thing because of the First Amendment right to protest in a private building, which is, of course, insane. What an evil, evil human. Now, it's not just that he's wanting clicks. Don Lemon is an evil, wicked man.
How psychotic do you have to be to storm into a situation and then say, this must be traumatic for you? That's what a serial killer says when they've abducted somebody and say,
and I'm just here to chronicle it for everyone.
This serial killer, we've seen movies where they'll like, I imagine this must be sad for you knowing that you'll never see your family again. Like that's the vibe that it gives. Hey, we created this traumatic situation. I'm sure it must be traumatic for you. But that's what protesting is. You walked into a church and started calling everybody racists and creating this situation and saying, oh gosh, I'm sure this is traumatic for you, and you somehow feel like you have the badge of righteousness.
I want to. James Baird says this. He says this is what happens when people don't feel the eye of God or fear the eye of God. They traumatize children at church on purpose to further a political agenda.
He's 100% right.
He is, and here's Don Lemon doubling down. Okay,
look at this garbage can on the left too.
I know,
that's two big piles, stinky piles of garbage.
We had already pulled this lady, which her name now escapes me, Jennifer
She's
Welch.
Trash.
Okay, Jennifer Welch. We've already pulled her for a clip that she made that we're going to play later in today's show. But so this is all of the fanfare. This was from earlier today. Don Lemon went on Jennifer Welch's show or whatever this is.
Yeah, she's got a podcast.
Okay.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
I mean, all the leftists listen to this.
Okay, and he essentially admits that I think the real reason he went was because they were white. And I mean, you feel free to disagree with me if you take something different away from what I think. This is a confession. Listen,
and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh, my
and there's
God.
a certain degree of entitlement.
That has nothing to do with it, you trash can. That has nothing to do with it.
Rob wanted to say a lot more words.
I know. I appreciate
trash can.
I appreciate.
Who gives a damn that you are a black gay man? You stormed into a church.
Yeah.
Because and he's literally saying, look, this is not my brand of Christianity.
Yeah.
What he means is biblical Christianity, or more to the Orthodox side or fundamental side, which is what I am. And then he says, but they're white supremacists. The church is essentially, that church was essentially, and that's why they targeted it, because they were white. Now, obviously, they're not white supremacists there. That's not what they are. But he is bringing race into the reason why he was there. And we have video of him coordinating with the leftists before he even takes the camera. He backs the camera off. He says, let's get the camera over here, because the organizers were talking about what he called like operational specifics. He didn't want to broadcast that because he was streaming live. So he was in coordination. He knew where they were going. He knew where they were targeting. And now he's essentially saying that it was a church full of white people, so they must be doing something. They must be up to something. Must be doing something wrong. They must be racist.
White Christians.
And so I know
Christians are racist.
I know there was
come down here next Sunday, brother. That's what I want to tell him. Come on down here next Sunday.
I understand what you're feeling.
The other thing is, he didn't storm to your point, Paul, he didn't storm a black church. He didn't storm a black church. And we understand, unless you're naive, that there are predominantly white churches in areas and predominantly black churches. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not a mixture in certain churches, but there are, like, I
don't think in a black church they would have even noticed him. Those folks are so into it, and I've been a part of one of their worship services before. They wouldn't have even noticed.
And when are they?
Hallelujah!
Yeah, Renee good. Renee good.
Sure.
So, but he meets every definition of a raging leftist liberal, because the first and most telltale thing that they will do is create a problem and then cry victim. Create the problem and say, I'm oppressed. How dare you? You stormed a church, and you're saying that the pushback is because you are a black gay man. Nobody cares, Don. You stormed into a church with a bunch of liberal, angry people to create a crowd and have this viral moment. And guess what? It worked, Don, because we're talking about it today. So congratulations, you piece of effing trash.
Well, you very well. I mean, I'm serious. I do think there is talk. Now, maybe we don't hold our breath on this, but there is talk that he is going to be charged. Certainly, the people in that mob are going to be charged. I think that's 100%. And before we get to the whole, what about right wing? If you go after Don Lemon for being a left wing journalist there, then when the Dems get back in power, they're going to go after the right wing journalists.
They already did.
I'm like, okay, do you remember a guy named Douglas Mackey who went to jail for doing a meme of Hillary Clinton that was pretty doggone hilarious about you can text vote to this number to vote for Hillary Clinton? He went to jail for that. Owen Schroyer went to jail because he was there covering January 6th. So they've already done it. And again, and we're going to get into this later, they're going to do what they're going to do when they get back in power. And honestly, our only solution, our only way forward, is to make the current iteration of the Democrat Party, this extreme iteration of the Democrat Party where they think the laws just don't apply to them, is to put it down, for lack of a better term, is to make it illegal. Which it is illegal. I mean, it's illegal to do what they're doing, And if you don't do that, then we're consigning Trump supporters, as we'll see here with this piece of audio from the same lady. We're really, we're sentencing our own people to live under communism. But before we go any further, we do want to take a quick break, and we're going to be back here in just a minute, so don't go anywhere.
I'm Brian Norris, retired Army First Sergeant, husband to Kelly, father of 3 amazing girls, and a lifelong Arkansan who puts faith, family, and fair elections first. When Independence County demanded real election transparency, I led the charge, petitioning voters and winning at the Arkansas Supreme Court. Now, Little Rock bureaucrats are punishing counties like Searcy for putting voters first. That's not real conservatism. It's big government overreach in disguise. That's why Trump allies like General Michael Flynn, Mike Lindell, Justice Michael Gableman, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, Senator Wendy Rogers, and Senator Mark Fincham back me. Together, we'll secure Arkansas's elections and inspire the nation. As Secretary of State, I'll implement President Trump's executive order, verify citizenship, replace hackable voting computers, and build trust with verifiable paper ballots. I'll cut red tape for businesses, harness our natural gas and lithium boom, and attract tech jobs to grow Arkansas strong. This is our fight, our future. Join us.
Paid for by Norris for Arkansas.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We're in this interesting conversation here about what went on in Minneapolis. I'm going to read this just to kind of get us back into it. Joe Rigney says, 11 years ago today, I helped plant City's Church. Now, Joe Rigney is the author of a book called Toxic Empathy, I believe. He says, I served as a pastor there for 8 years. It's a normal Baptist church. They worship Jesus. They love each other. They seek the good of their neighbors. And the left hates them and wants to shut them down because one of their pastors serves his country in law enforcement, putting his life on the line to remove rapists and violent, criminal, illegal immigrants from our streets. The Democrats are the party of lawlessness, of cultural decay, social disorder, and death. It's time for Christian boldness, for courage and clarity about Jesus and sin, and it's time for our governing officials to fulfill their mandate and become a terror to evil conduct. They do not bear the sword in vain. That's what our nation needs. By the way, hats off to Center for Baptist Leadership. I think they were the first video that I saw reporting what went on. I could be wrong there, but that, at least in my, they were the first ones that I saw. I want to get to more of Jennifer Welch. Okay, this was part of that interview with Don Lemon and her saying essentially
garbage. Can you imagine being married to this insufferable?
Churches are the problem. Oh, well, you know, there's that new acronym now. There's that new acronym. Instead of Karen, it's now awfuls. So,
really?
Yeah, now I can't remember. Affluent, white, female, urban, liberal.
Wow.
Or lady. Maybe it's lady.
Lady is used loosely.
Yeah.
So that is one of those white evangelical churches that turn out to vote for Donald Trump, 80+% of that sect of Christianity. These are the don't tread on me folks. These are the people who feel like America is for Americans and American only. These are white nationalists. And the DOJ got their panties in a wad because these protesters went straight to them and addressed their hypocrisy. You, a gay black journalist, are, prime bait for them to drum up these charges. But so that's one issue. You went right into the most entitled white nationalists there are, and they feel that ICE is 100% justified. But second,
so it's insane. I know it's insane, but we have to take these people seriously because
both of them have a platform.
No, what I mean is we have to take them seriously because they believe they have the moral high ground.
Oh yeah,
we believe we have. I know I keep saying this, but I can't get over it. We believe we have the moral high ground. They believe they have the moral high ground. I'm not interested in talking with them in terms of a civic resolution. I would share the gospel with them, obviously, and but I'm not interested in talking to their side. They're not interested in listening to my ideas. So there's going to be winners or losers. It's either us or them. That's where we're at.
Jeez.
I don't mean to be fatalistic, but that's...
Well, I watched a video and I can't remember the lady, and she was, she was commenting on the fact that she had to cut out every conservative member of her family, and she was just right on the level with this insufferable, the TV audience.
A lady.
This TV audience is really restraining me on a 4-letter word that rhymes with what that I want to say to her. But anyway, this insufferable what is indicative of the type of mentality that I was in this video that I was talking about. And what this lady was saying is, she goes, I've had to cut off all of these people including my parents. And her thing is, I wish for my family's sake, that I could be sort of deprogrammed so that I could be okay with the fact that my parents are conservative.
Wow, that's sad.
And I was like, you just said the quiet part out loud inadvertently.
Yeah.
Because there needs to be a deprogramming. And these crazies that are storming into a church, yelling and calling everybody racist, and you white racist Christians and all of that stuff, and you're just
With
like,
your
"Well,
coffee and your latte.
you're freaking white, dude. And why are you not at work? If this is on a Sunday, they're not going to be at work. But you get my point. Is all of these demonstrators are doing this, paid agitators instead of working. But you're sitting there, and you don't even have the slightest bit of irony that you are denouncing the white devils, and you haven't looked in the mirror apparently, because you are. If the white people are the devils, kill Whitey, as Chris Farley said, then you are part of the problem. Should you do something to yourself to help solve that problem? Who the heck knows? But I can just tell you this. There's a reckoning that needs to happen on that deprogramming aspect of it, because we have one thing to fall back on: the righteousness of the law. If you don't like the law, you can change the law. But as long as you are adhering to the law, then you are, in my opinion, good. They are being lawless. They're lawless in everything that they do. I'll let y'all go. I could go on that rant.
This is why I'm not going to go down the road of that. We're going to automatically going to lose in the midterms either, because it's too important when you think about the upcoming season of of politics and this next year, and not making Trump a lame duck president. You can't go down the path of, well, it doesn't matter anyway because we're going to lose and then they're going to take over.
I mean, absolutely not. I mean, you can't help it with every election. The stuff that you can get really upset about, that we've talked about, the things of the Trump administration that make me angry, the lack of movement. I mean, when you get closer to the election, though, and it does become a binary choice, because you realize, that there's at least a debate to be had on the right. It's a coalition of a lot of different opinions, and there is good debate on a lot of issues. Some issues you used to couldn't talk about, like our foreign policy or something like that. There's now actually debate that goes on that side, not on the left. And the left wants to. I mean, look at how they celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. They want to kill us. I believe that, and so you get closer to the election, and it does become an easier and easier choice. To your point, Eric, I think especially if the left keeps doing what they're doing, it's going to just get. It's going to get even more clear.
Well, I think also too we're gonna see, unfortunately in 2026, if there is a bloodbath, Trump's his own worst enemy on some of this stuff. Now, I believe that the left, if you were really trying to take an X-ray look at all of the stuff that they would do, then yes, you would admit, hey, they're a far greater evil. But Trump has got to stop with this crap about, if you don't like this, I'll tariff you. If you don't like this, I will invade you. And it's like, man, you're kind of walking the walk here. It's a fine line.
Yeah, you're talking about independents. I think a lot of independents, because he is losing support with independents. The polling shows that. But I think a lot of independents voted for him because they wanted the deep state held accountable. And according to Ed Martin, there's movement on that, the grand jury in Florida and that sort of thing, these overarching conspiracies allegedly. And so you never know what's going to happen this year with that. And, of course, they have to get it right. They actually have to get convictions. They can't just – so there's a lot of time between now and November to see how it all shakes out.
Well, they got to pass election laws, too.
They got to pass election laws. They need to end the filibuster. They need to do so much thing. And, with the whole thing with Greenland, buying Greenland maybe the rhetoric could be toned down. I mean, I don't care, but I get how other people do care about it. But this is when I was talking earlier in the week or last week about pre-World War I mentalities. we made the Louisiana Purchase. They need to start calling this the Greenland Purchase. They need to start bringing back up the history that the U.S. has purchased a ton of territories in our history.
Instead of saying that we're going to go into war with Canada over it, and that, you know, one comment made by the Canadian Prime Minister means that
sends us into war.
Yeah.
Well, and the other stuff too is like, I don't think if you're the leader of the free world, I don't believe that you have to come out and say, hello, European nations here. If you oppose us taking Greenland, I'm going to put tariffs on you. I don't think you have to say it publicly.
Yeah.
Because I think you just pick up the phone like, hey, Mr. President, I just don't agree with you doing this with Greenland. We'll see about that. Like, you can have that conversation, but saying it out loud to the public here, like you're trying to scare them off from opposing it, you're not doing anything but making yourself look like a complete dictator.
Trump works 24/7. That dude's on the phone all the time.
Yeah,
there are
just
so many conversations going on.
At that. He tries to control the news cycle, and not in a great way sometimes.
All right, I've got to get to more of these clips here because I've got more to say. Here's Don Lemon with the main coordinator of the church raid. I'm calling it, what do we call the storming of a church? I don't know. Sure.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
That woman is going to jail.
Demanding justice for Renee Good and letting them know that this will not stand. They cannot pretend to be a house of God while harboring someone who is directing ICE agents to wreak havoc upon our community.
Pretending to be a house of God. So she's the one that makes the judgment. She's now made a theological judgment that this isn't a real church. Now, I think there's a lot of fake churches out there. I think there's a lot of them. The churches with the rainbows on the side of the building and everything else. But you know what? I don't have the right to do. I don't have a right to disrupt their service on private property. I disagree with it. I don't think they're real churches, but I do not have a right to go in there with a bunch of my buddies and disrupt those services. Don't have a right. And so that's why people are, understandably saying, look, the FACE Act is a real act. I think it was abused by the Biden administration to charge old ladies who were praying outside of an abortion clinic. I do. But it's there. And now they're saying that the religious freedom portions of the FACE Act, which is the second portion of the FACE Act, that you can't prohibit those seeking exercise of the First Amendment. And that's exactly the First Amendment right to religious worship. That's exactly what they did. And ironically, it is Martin Luther King Day. And on Martin Luther King Day, there are also, Harmeet Dillon has been on multiple media outlets saying that they may even use the Klan Act of 1871. The Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871 could be used to charge gay black man Don Lemon for the irony on Martin Luther King Jr. Day of all. By the way, it's also Robert E. Lee's birthday.
That would be must-see theater here. When you're talking about charging a black man with the Klan Act, because if you read the definition of the Klan Act, it meets it's exactly what old gay Don Lemon did, right? And I only bring up the gayness because he constantly does.
Yeah. I mean, that's his identity,
right? And so
he gets most of his self-worth out of being gay.
I think if he would visit his local testosterone clinic, some of this stuff would calm down, But
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think
that's my opinion.
No, that's what he needs. He needs a tee shot in the butt,
man. Better than the other stuff in the butt. So here's the thing.
I didn't know we were going to talk about cures for homosexuality today.
Here's the thing. Listen, I've got my own set of issues, things that I'm constantly working on with my Lord and Savior. I'm not sitting here trying to say anything negative about someone else's walk with God. But with the fact that Don Lemon, of all people, can say that he is a Christian, I'm like, you're the kind that goes to the Presbyterian church that has, because there's two sects of the Presbyterian church, and I'm attacking Paul Harrell here.
No. Thank you for qualifying. Yes, there are a lot of old Presbyterian churches that have the rainbow now.
Yes. So I've said it on the show before. When my wife and I were in St. Louis for a concert, and I drove by a Presbyterian church, and I saw gay pride flags. The version of that flag that includes the pedos. What are they called? What are they trying to call them now?
I don't know and don't want to know.
Maps. Maps. Minor attracted persons. Okay, when you've got that flying on your church, and you want to sit and say that you are walking with God.
Yeah.
That's not what the Bible says, and so I struggle to believe that the Spirit of God is at work. I really feel like the Spirit of something is at work in that church.
You're exactly right, and it really comes down to, the slippery slope is these churches that you're talking about, these quote churches, they did not start by just adopting the gays. They started by adopting women clergy, by denying what the Scripture said about men exclusively being qualified to hold church office, the official church office. And once that got in the door, and Scripture didn't quite mean what we thought it would mean, so now we're going to let women do it. Then it moved to something that's called Side B, homosexuality. Side B is you can look it up, but what that means means we still think gayness, being homosexual, is wrong, sodomy is wrong, but if you don't act on it, you can be that way, but as long as you don't act on it and you remain celibate, we'll be okay with that. And then almost every church, mainline Protestant denomination that adopted women clergy, and then Side B, then goes to full Side A, which is full acceptance. You can have gay clergy, and it's a whole slippery slope that happened over time. So anyway, just food for thought. The slippery slope is real. It's not a made-up phenomenon. It exists.
Well, the point that I was just trying to make, and I just wrap a bow around it, is, hey, Don, I don't think I need your opinion about what a Christian church is, and I think it would just be sweet justice if you were charged with the Klan Act.
I agree.
The Klan Act was enacted to counteract your old Democrat buddies there. To this day, there's so many people that don't realize that the Democrats formed the Ku Klux Klan.
This is true.
And that Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves, was the first mainstream Republican. And you're just like, that formed the Republican Party? What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I'll just throw this out there. Abraham Lincoln also suspended habeas corpus, the right to trial by jury. That was suspended under him during extraordinary circumstances. Now, I may have a different opinion about the Civil War and what was actually done. How the Republic was actually, I think, irreparably harmed by Abraham Lincoln doing what he did. I'm not saying that I'm for slavery or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, historically, you can look back and say, man, we lost a lot of our autonomy as states with a capital S. Like the state of Arkansas used to be thought of as the state of England or the state of Germany, right? We were the United States of America with a capital S, and we're kind of a little capital S now, The reason I was saying that is because, I've just totally blanked on what I was saying. Habeas corpus. My whole point is that he did suspend habeas corpus, and we have a lot of lawlessness going on right now. And I'm just saying there is a precedent for it, and I know exactly what everyone will say if it happens. Oh, he's a dictator.
Yeah.
Or he shouldn't do the Insurrection Act because he'll be a dictator, even though presidents have used the Insurrection Act countless times throughout American history. I just want the lawlessness to stop, and they're not going to be stopped until somebody makes them stop. And if you've got all these corrupt judges, we've talked about this. Even on the arresting of the deep state, even if you arrest them, I kind of came to that conclusion. Like, even if you do get them arrested, the judges are all corrupt. So, or most of them are.
Is it weird that what we want is for law enforcement to be able to do their job and for people to be able to worship in their Baptist church normally? And
we're the outsiders, Eric.
That's very white supremacist of you, actually. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way.
I didn't think that was such a tall hill. that we would have to fight up. My gosh.
No, you're spot on with it, and Paul, you touch on a great point there, and that is that you have activist judges. So even if we have law on the books that does this or that should counteract a lot of this stuff, what good is it if the judges won't enforce it, or their enforcement of it is from their ideological slant? Yeah. And Tim Pool talks about this recently, and this was I saw this video clip. It's been a couple of days, but Tim Pool talks about due process.
Yeah,
and everybody wants to talk about due process and say, well, it's because this and this with the Fourth Amendment. Due process simply means the process that you are due by law. That's simply, and I've never really truly thought about that. It's the process by which you are due per the law. And so when people want to talk about illegal immigration, you need to look at it through that lens of what process are you due by the law. And with the
you're not, because if you're not a citizen, sorry, you're out. There is no, well, we gotta give this guy a speedy trial. No, you don't have those rights. You're not an American citizen.
Yeah, and why do you have due process going out when you didn't have it coming in?
Exactly.
So I think what is it? The Alien
and Sedition X.
Thank you, of whatever year.
It had been sometime in the 18th century.
Basically gives the president the ability to just kick you out, and you may not like that, but that's what elections are for.
All right, here's this guy. Everybody be real afraid.
I'm shivering.
You live in the neighborhood? Yep, this is my block. This is my area. I don't go into other people's neighborhoods and try and intimidate them. I protect my people.
Are you giving out your name?
No, I'm okay with that. Our neighborhood's showing up.
You guys had a lot of people out here, right?
At least 30 or more.
Yeah.
40 or 50.
That's pretty good for a quick turnout.
All right, so this guy looks like a fat version of Left Wing
Barney.
Will.
Listen, man.
It's like a fat version of Left Wing Will from the game. It's really what he looks like.
It's my neighborhood.
For those of you on the audio-only version, he's holding some sort of, semi-automatic rifle.
Dude, that could be a BB gun.
Yeah.
I mean, they make some BB guns look intimidating.
Hilarious. Pew, pew. Pew, pew.
Listen, this dude is not even holding it. He's not even holding it in any sort of. I mean, he would argue that he could throw that thing up there, but what are you going to do with it? You're going to shoot law enforcement? That's literally you're going to get one, maybe two shots out, and you're done.
It's a continuation of the video from last week, which is we're going to show you how to use it. We're going to go to a gun store. We're going to learn how to use the gun.
Go to the gun store, buy some guns, learn how to use them.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck to you.
And so these guys are putting themselves in harm's way because of people like Tim Waltz and others. It's absolutely insane. And I will just say it is just a crazy phenomenon how things flip when the left wants guns. Now all of a sudden the Second Amendment is for defending, defending against a tyrannical government. But then when when we try to make that point, we've been trying to make that point for 20-something years or more, and it's like, oh no, it's just talking about a militia. You don't have the right to own a gun.
That's an interpretation, and you're incorrect.
But now we get to this the last time.
Back.
What's this girl's name again?
Trash can.
Hang on. Her name is
Jacqueline.
Oh, come on.
Stupid.
Here it is. Her name is
Jennifer.
Jennifer Welch. All right, Jennifer Welch already had a viral clip because she's advocating to arrest all Trump supporters or the Trump cabinet when they get back in power.
Blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats, fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are
Yeah.
serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every
Yes.
document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's.
I didn't know he was on that douchebag
Yeah, it was
show.
an Acosta. So
Yeah, when the Acosta thing.
Let's.
I'm just saying this reinforces my point that I keep beating, which is if we don't have historic jail time for these people, it's not just the Trump cabinet that's going down. I'm telling you, it's average American Christian. Listen to her, what she thinks about Bible believing Christians, and especially if you're white, things are not going to be good in our lifetime if the Trump administration doesn't deliver. And it may not look exactly like I want it to look, but there's got to be some sort of bulwark established that is permanent, that keeps these people from coming after us. She's literally saying, I think they're committed crime. We're going to we're going to go invent the crimes, which is exactly what they did to Trump, Russian collusion hoax, all of that stuff.
I worry that Republicans are leaning too much on the redistricting to save them in 2026, because you see she's prefacing exactly what the lunatics will do once they take power again, and there is a growing groundswell to get rid of the filibuster, pass election integrity laws. And I wanted to ask you this question. I know that we're going to run up against time, but I've been thinking about this nonstop. I want to get both of your opinions on this. Do you think that if the Republicans do not do that, if there is a refusal to do so,
to do what?
To nuke the filibuster and pass election integrity laws, specifically that you have to have a federally issued ID that can be backed up with some sort of birth certificate, so like real ID or whatever, so that you can vote in federal elections. If you want to be crazy in the city of New York and have them vote for whoever, the mayor, if you're illegal, then that's fine. That's up to you. But you cannot vote in federal elections without being able to prove that you are a United States citizen, and that we cannot count these people in the census, because if they are not of the voting block, then all of that stuff. So if there is a refusal to do so, okay, do you feel as if when the Republicans are in power, hey, everything's great, we're going to do all of this stuff, we're going to do all of this, when I feel like there's been a huge opportunity missed in year one? But if you are not in power, that fundraising is easier.
100%. If you're 100%. If you're not in power, fundraising easier, because they,
put me in there.
Yeah,
put me in there. I got donate today. Put me in there, guys.
Yeah, it's a big scam. It's a big game.
We've got to fight. We got to fight against these Democrats that are just trying to destroy Trump in his last 2 years. Because nothing else makes sense to me. Because otherwise, you would pass those election integrity laws, and I think that most reasonable people believe that is a huge disadvantage to the Democrats.
Go a long way to actually solving the problem, but do they really care about solving the problem?
How many House seats and Senate seats will be decided because illegals are not voting and they are not counted in the census?
What do you think, Eric? We got about a minute.
Yeah, it's going to take me more than a minute to think on that one and just stew in it a little bit.
Well, maybe we'll get to it.
Well, I just think 2020 was 2020, and we all know what happened there, really. 24 was too big to fail. I don't think that we'll have the same issues in elections from now on. I'd like to be non-black-pilled about that as I can. I just know that once we as a society get to the point to where we all collectively feel that our votes don't matter, then it is just truly Armageddon at that point, and when we don't have a voice. and when our votes don't matter. So I can't allow myself to get to that point, because I think that's what happened in 2020, because I know what happened when I went to bed and when I woke up was America changed.
And the sharp incline.
That's just where I'm at. But
Well,
I want to talk some more about that.
Yeah, no,
for
maybe
sure.
we can continue it tomorrow, the conversation tomorrow. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I know what you're feeling. Because that's a dangerous place to be. But I mean, I've certainly been there, and I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know how much Trump can do with executive orders when it comes to voter ID and that sort of thing. I also think in my back of my mind, and this may be just too red-pilled or too white-pilled, I don't know, but he's got Nicolas Maduro in custody. And if there's any truth to Emerald Robinson's reporting, and I think there is, he may just be the key to not only stopping the election fraud, but who knows? Maybe exposing it, or maybe taking advantage of current infrastructure for your own side.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that thought's crossed my mind as well, because if you stole the diamonds and you get caught, you don't get to keep the diamonds, as Trump said. You have to return the diamonds.
This was a great conversation. This was good.
I appreciate you guys so much. This was the first show since the new year where all three of us are in the same room doing the show.
Good show.
I really appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, T-Guard Bail Bonds, as well as Sherrod Chiropractic. We appreciate it. Can't do the show without you. We'll see you guys. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Do all the things regardless of what platform you're watching. We'll see you tomorrow.